All right. Speaking of zombie apocalypse, here is a clip of Justice Sam Alito. He is giving the I don't know, it's like the opening speech for the Federalist Society or their gala or whatever it is. And here is Justice Alito. Remember, folks, there is there are no specific laws or even rules that govern the conflict of interests of Supreme Court justices. It is basically up to them. And it is, there are for all other federal judges, there are statutes. So there is for judges, there is an ethics rules that require judges to remain impartial and to avoid any appearance of impartiality. Appearance. So they have to be extra. It's not just enough that they don't have actual conflict of interest. They also need to project to American citizens and the world that they are judicious and that they do not have any biases that may implicate their rulings, so that people can have faith in institutions. Here he is at his keynote address at this year's all-virtual Federalist Society National Lawyers Convention. Just check. I mean, the whole thing is packed full of stuff like this, but just check out this.
You can't say that marriage is a union between one man and one woman. Until very recently, that's what the vast majority of Americans thought. Now it's considered bigotry. That this would happen after our decision in Obergefell should not have come as a surprise. Yes, the opinion of the court included words meant to calm the fears of those who cling to traditional views on marriage. But I could see, and so did the other justices in dissent, where the decision would lead. I wrote the following: I assume that those who cling to old beliefs will be able to whisper their thoughts in the recesses of their homes. But if they repeat those views in public, they will risk being labeled as bigots and treated as such by governments, employers, and schools. That is just what is coming to pass. One of the great challenges for the Supreme Court going forward will be to protect freedom of speech. Although that freedom is falling out of favor in some circles, we need to do whatever we can to prevent it from becoming a second-tier constitutional right.
Can anyone come up with the idea that expressing your view that we should not have same-sex marriage is infringed upon in this country is just bizarre. The First Amendment deals with the government silencing this type of talk. The idea that like we can't have rights for gay people be the same for straight people because if people disagree with it, they'll be considered bigots. I mean, what? I mean, this is insanity.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of people on the internet equating or conflating cancel culture when you say something racist or inappropriate with some sort of persecution. I mean, I'd like for Alito to experience what it's actually like to be a persecuted group in this country, as opposed to just trying to cosplay one, basically. And these are the judges that are supposed to be impartial, and they pretend it's this fiction that the entire country has to agree to, and we tell each other this fairy tale at night that they're just going to look at the merits of the case and decide there. I mean, he was talking like a standard Republican senator from Arkansas there.
And he's conflating the idea of First Amendment rights with the some type of protection from being criticized.
Yeah. Well, it's a very, shall we say, reach of a definition of First Amendment rights, right? Because it's only supposed to refer to the government restricting speech, not, societal mores, which is also something that can have an effect on speech, I think, in this case, for the better, but is not designed to be part of the First Amendment.
It's stunning. It's stunning that you have a Supreme Court justice who is equating First Amendment rights with as being infringed upon if people are criticized.
Yeah, and apparently, right, these are supposed to be the textualists, the people that just read the letter of the Constitution and decide there. I don't think anything in the Constitution indicates that would be under the umbrella of free speech. I mean, he would have been the kind of guy that would have disputed the shouting fire in a crowded theater thing back when that case was decided, ostensibly because it wasn't in the letter of the Constitution, right? So now he's stretching it even further to very specific social reactions to the First Amendment for those kinds of protections. That's against everything he pretends to care about.
Yeah.
But society has a legitimate, the exception to the First Amendment are very narrow, and they are about curbing people's rights and when you can do that. He is not just expanding on the conditions in which you can curb people's rights, right? I mean, the argument is the state has a vested interest in making sure that people do not cause a panic that could end up hurting people as they run out of a theater. This isn't a question of him expanding what constitutes that type of state interest. This is him sort of throwing the onus onto the other people who are in the theater, saying, hey, actually, no, this guy, it's his religious edict that he yells fire in a crowded theater.
And then the Muslim guy yells fire, and no, but that doesn't count.
Well, that's a different story altogether. But this is him inverting the exceptions to the First Amendment and expanding it. I mean, it is where it becomes essentially a shield rather than an affirmative right as to what you can do, a shield from hearing other people speaking. I mean, it is equally my right to call you a bigot. In fact, it's more my right to call you a bigot than it is your right to not have me say that. And the inversion here is really important for people to understand, because this is going to be, they are using it in the context of religious grounds, but this will get extended to the government has no right to tell businesses to tell their employees to wash their hands, that the government has no right on First Amendment grounds. They will inhibit the government's ability to regulate businesses. I mean, this is, and it's super disturbing that he feels it's comfortable in doing that. Here is
if workers were to benefit, I think it would be a different equation, and he really would suddenly not care.
I'm not sure I follow.
Never mind. I was trying to say something really simple, and I got weird with it.
What? Okay.
You're saying just basically that the Supreme Court is united in its anti-worker hatred.
Oh, for sure. But
yeah.
like the Supreme Court could order a boss to order their employees to do something anti-gay, but I think they would change their tune. I need more coffee. That's what I need. Continue.
Okay. Melancholy tells me on the IM, oh my God, you've completely ignored Amendment 1, Addendum A, which says you shall not hurt the fifis of religious conservatives.
Can someone please tell me what a fifi is?
You don't know what fifi is? Feelings.
Oh, fifi.
Michael really
Fifis.
likes that
That's
term.
what you say to a kid.
Oh,
I heard your fifis.
oh.